Wow, Wayne Mays just broke his 200th straight in the 410. Yeah, he did.
Number 200, isn't it? Yeah.
Number 200.
Good job, man.
15, 22, 23, 22.
Good job.
Congratulations. Awesome.
I told you in the parking lot the other night.
80.
Proud of you, Wayne.
Thanks, buddy.
I got you.
Wash it, but
No, not mine.
that will suffice.
Thanks, buddy.
Party.
Big sir, get you a copy of that. Keep it.
Yeah.
Very good.
What was that, Jason? Mason.
Mason.
M-A-S-O-N? Yes, sir.
Land now or what?
You reckon we could get a... Shaking again?
Okay, we're back. It's Sunday afternoon. Mr. Wayne Mays has set a world record. He's had his 200th straight in the 410 here at the Dallas Gun Club. I want to congratulate him.
Thank you,
and we hope there'll be many more.
I hope so.
We have a special ceremony we wanted everybody to share with us here at Dallas today. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Mr. John Ramagli of Kohler Arms. Ready to go? Thanks, Woody. On behalf of all of the sponsors, all of you people who came out here, I'd like to thank Woody, Jim Terrell, and the staff of the Dallas Gun Club for providing us with a venue upon which we were witness to probably the most fantastic feat in Skeet history. On behalf of all of the vendors that participated, the Krieghoff Gun Company, the Remington Gun Company, not the least of which Kohler Arms, my partners Don and Jeff Mainland, I want to take this moment and have all of you know that you were part of a historical accomplishment. On behalf of all of us, I'd like to congratulate Wayne Mays for his 200th 100 straight in the 410 event. Wayne, come on out. It's hard to imagine that in 1972, this guy came out of Alabama, showed up at the World Shoot, moved up on Robert Paxton, and here we are 40 years later with the arguably the best 410 shooter and one of the best in the world. So Wayno, on behalf of all of us, congratulations. Thanks for all the time you gave us. Thanks for being you.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to thank everybody. I mean, the only thing that pushes a shooter into shooting as good as he can is the shooters that's his quality are better. And, you know, if I didn't have people to compete with, you know, like Todd and LP and Paxton and some of these people, you know, I wouldn't have the drive to try to do what I do. And so I owe a lot of that to those guys. Thank you.
You know, it's interesting that Wayne ran his 100th straight here, and just by dumb luck, we selected a photo that had him in the Dallas Gun Club. So get yourself. Let's go. Turn this thing back to Woody, and as they say in New Orleans, laissez les bons temps roule, let the good times roll. Thank you.
All right, everybody, we have 2 Hall of Fame inductees. This is based on their shooting. And these are both great guys. We've known them all for quite a while. I'd like to start with Jamie Gaines, and I'm going to somebody that probably doesn't need any introduction, Linda's husband.
Once I was asked to do this, it was a great honor for me to do it, being, you know, as good a friend as Jamie is to me. I wanted to do it. But as I told a lot of people about doing it, everybody says, well, you know, you got to tell a joke. For a lot of you that don't know me, I do tell a lot of jokes. I ran over a few jokes with Linda to see what was permissible and what wasn't. So we narrowed it down to one, and this guy was sitting on the couch eating peanuts. That's not it. This guy had a dog, and I know a lot of you have dogs and very fond of them. This guy loved this dog more than life. He had a lot of money, and one day the dog passed away. So he goes down to the church, talks to the priest, and he said, you know, I'd like to get a service set up for my dog. The priest told him, said, well, you know, I hate to say this, but he said, we really don't do anything like this with animals. He said, but being a small town like this, he said, I'm sure you can find one of the small churches that may help you. So the guy starts to walk away, and then he stops and turns around and asks the priest if he thought the church would be okay taking a $50,000 donation. So the priest stopped and said, well, wait a minute. You never informed me that the dog was Catholic.
Tell us about this. Are these your new shot shells?
Wayne Mays brought these 2 shells in, and he told me the reason that he had 200 straight in the 410 event was these were his personal customized shells. And
Wayne
does have 200 straights in the 410 event, and that's
yes.
the most in the book.
Yes.
And,
he holds a world record for that.
Yeah, right. It probably took him 3 hours to make those 2 shells. Don't come in here and throw at me. It was a talking piece, and if you know Wayne, he's got to have something to talk about. But been a shooter a long time.
He was the greatest champion that the NSSA has ever seen. When I tell people about our sport, non-shooters, when I tell them about our sport, I tell them that for some reason, our sport is full of great sportsmen with a lot of integrity. I'm not sure why that is, but it just is. So when I describe Wayne as the greatest champion of our sport, I'm really not talking about his 43 world shoot titles or all of his world records, long run records, his 200 straights in the 410, his shooting resume, which will never be paralleled or equaled in history. I'm really speaking of his sportsmanship. Wayne, in my opinion, was the greatest sportsman that we've ever seen in our sport. Wayne Mays never made an excuse when he missed a target. Wayne Mays was a modest champion and a gracious runner-up. Wayne Mays was the most approachable champion I've ever known. Anyone could go up to Wayne and he would engage them, help them, tell them stories, give them lessons. He was very approachable and genuine. So I'm going to take a moment and tell you my favorite Wayne Mays story. It was the World Shoot in 1973 in Savannah, Georgia. I was obviously very young, and it was my 3rd or 4th World Shoot. I was hanging out with a good friend of mine, my 2-man team partner, John Clark, and a very young Bruce Evans. And John and Bruce and I were just walking around the headquarter hotel the night before the 28 gauge championship. We happened to walk just into the doorway of the recreation room where there were some people playing pool. And we didn't stand there but maybe 20 or 30 seconds. And we watched one guy make one shot. And this guy was a short man. He had a cut-off t-shirt right about here, exposed his midriff. And we watched him hit the cue ball one time. He flubbed the shot, the cue ball went bouncing off the table and rattled around in the corner of the room. I turned to my 2 friends and said, if that guy's a skeet shooter, he's going to have a hard time tomorrow. And we walked away. Didn't know if he was a skeet shooter or not. The next day, I was fortunate enough to break 100 in the 28 gauge. Back then, they gave you shoot-off shells, and they had a little tent where you'd go and get your shells for the shoot-off. I was walking to the shoot-off tent, and I see the man I saw in the pool room for the second time in my life. And he's walking over to the shoot-off tent to get shells. And I turn to John and Bruce and I say, he does shoot skeet. And he broke 100 straight today. Well, the shoot-off continued round after round, and the short man, kept coming back for shells every round. As luck would have it, the shoot-off got down to him and I. And in the 11th round, I miss, and Wayne Mays wins his first of 43 World Championship titles. All through the years, I kid Wayne, and I would kid him, and I would say, Wayne, because I made fun of you, I'm sure that's why God made you the world's greatest shooter. I don't think that's the reason that God made him the world's greatest shooter. But it might be, perhaps, God made him the world's greatest shooter because he was the world's greatest sportsman. I miss him dearly, and I hope you will pray for Linda and Wayne and Linda's families to get through this very difficult time. The next member of the 2013 TSSA All-State team, Wayne Mays.
Ready?